What's going on, guys? Doing another video of Budget Ballers today. Essentially, if you haven't watched the series before, definitely check out the other videos to help you guys out. It's a video series where I find some guys you can get for cheap on the market, and in return they are very good for their price, and you actually might want to use them on your actual teams. The theme of this episode are super cheap guys who are very good. Alright, so let's get started. First up, I have Maurice Spates, the Playoffs Edition. A lot of people overlook this card mainly because of the fact that that you pull them so often if you use or open playoff packs. I have not opened one yet, mainly because of the fact that I don't like opening packs anymore. I explained this in previous videos where I mentioned the fact that I feel like packs have absolutely no luck anymore. So essentially you're getting screwed over by these packs. So I bought this guy off the market, and I've watched videos where people just pull Maurice Spates like 5 times in a row. So people get really mad and they price him super low. At the time that I bought him, I believe he was like $2,500, and at the time that I'm recording this video, because this video might come out a couple days after I record the audio, he was, I believe, $2,100 a buyout, one of them. So you can get him for right around 2,000 MT. You don't know, maybe off a bid you can get him even cheaper, maybe at like 1,800, you never know. So Maurice Spates is a guy you definitely need to check out, super cheap, and his stats are absolutely amazing. He's a terrible defender, I'll tell you that right now. However, that's not what you're trying to get in this card. In this card, you're trying to get a guy who is an amazing scorer, and he's also a pretty decent rebounder. If you look at his rebounding stats, they're nothing too spectacular. He does have an 85 box out, which is very useful. And even though he's not the best rebounder, where he has like a 73 offense and a 76 defense rebound, the thing is with that box out, he can do enough, and he's not going to rack up rebounds for you, but he's going to get a decent amount and not be a negative. Defensively, he is absolutely horrendous. People blow by him pretty easily. However, he's not as bad as I would expect, where he doesn't get blocks, but he's a decent defender on the rim, where he won't get a lot of points scored on him. But the thing is, if you ever get him switched out to the perimeter, he's good as gone. Going on to other things, he's not super athletic, and he's not a great playmaker, but the whole thing about this card is his scoring. When this card came out, I was looking at it, and the thing that surprised me was the outside shooting. Maurice Spates is a pretty good outside shooter, but the thing is, these stats are spectacular. He's a 96 shot mid, and that's standing, and a 90 moving. And I believe he has an A+ for mid-range, and he is almost automatic. I don't know if I'm going to show in the video, but his hot spot is on the right side mid-range. So if he's ever open over there, just take it with him. He'll hit so many shots. I remember, I think in the video I'm going to show you, I just felt like I keep on hitting him over and over again. And he's just so good from that area. Very effective, and I like him a lot. I actually use him in Gauntlet a lot. Not just to show you guys, but I actually use him on my actual Gauntlet roster, because I do have a lot of guards, and occasionally you will get a time where you have 3 point guards and you'll just get out rebounded. So having a guy that big is nice to have, but throwing the fact that he has the perimeter skills of the outside shooting, it's really helpful. So I mentioned his mid-range, but his 3-pointer is pretty good as well. He can't really hit moving threes, as he is a 70, which isn't the worst, especially for a big man, but that 88 standing 3 is amazing. I believe he has a B overall for 3-point shooting. I feel like he got downgraded from like an A-, because when I got this card, I swear he had A's from inside and outside. But the thing is, with his shot, as long as you're not moving, if you're standstill and you just pass out to him, you're going to hit almost every shot with him. He has such a really smooth and quick shot. It's very fluid. I like it a lot. If I played My Career, I know I used to have a My Career series, but I gave up on that a while back. I don't know. I didn't find it that fun this year. I would use his release. It's very smooth, it's fast, and unlike Curry, who has a very smooth but fast release, it feels like there's a huge margin for error. This one, I feel like you're going to get it pretty often. I don't know if I'm just used to it, but I highly suggest this card. Other things about him is his inside scoring. He's not the greatest inside scorer, but the thing is, he has so many badges that he will be very useful. He has a lot of post badges where he has drop stepper, post step back pro, as well as post hook specialist, which is silver, but the other 2 are golds. He has a lot of other things that are useful, such as corner specialist, screen outlet, and unfazed, as well as microwave, all being gold. So he's really effective, and using him down low, I found some success using his post fadeaway. It's not that great, but I found a lot of success using that, and overall he's an amazing offensive card. So if you need an offensive center to be at the end of your bench, even if you're doing like really well and have a lot of great cards, he might be pretty useful for you if you just need some quick scoring. Of course, maybe if you have a lot of really good centers, he's not that useful, but for gold challenges, he might be better than some other centers you can get out there. Now moving on to a bigger and more defensive center that I pulled a couple of weeks ago. I bought him off the market, is the Moment's Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, first off, is very valuable because of his immense size. He's about 7'1", 250. So he already has a huge advantage compared to a lot of people. I know I mentioned in one of my other videos where I reviewed Mark Eaton and Arvydas Sabonis. Size is one of the biggest factors in terms of how successful you are with some of these players. I think is Gobert. His size is amazing, and the thing is his stats complement his size. The first thing that jumps out at you is his rebounding. He has a 96 offense and a 95 defensive rebound with a 97 box out, and with that height, he will grab almost any missed shot. Of course, he'll miss a few here and again, but it just feels like overall you're going to grab almost anything that's in the air, and he is super helpful to have on your team in terms of rebounding. In terms of defense, you already know who he is, the Stifle Tower. I believe he has an A block, but the thing is, it feels like he blocks so much shots, and even if he doesn't block them, he has a great shot contest of a 98. Pretty much anyone that comes into the paint will miss their shot, or very rarely they'll hit it. He's very useful down low, and I love using him on my team. I don't use him in Gauntlet just because of the fact that he's limited offensively, but I do use him on my 3 gold lineup just because of the fact that he's one of the tallest centers in the game. I know Mark Eaton and Arvydas are bigger than him that I reviewed earlier, but the thing is, neither of them are as good of defenders or rebounders, I feel like, even though that the Mark Eaton is Defense Player of the Year. And the thing is, he's not really that athletic, but he moves very well. He has a 78 stamina, which is not that great, but is pretty helpful when you have a guy that big. His inside scoring isn't the best, but he does hit a lot of those easy little shots around the rim, which you come to acknowledge and be grateful of that, because there's a lot of guys you can get where they'll just brick a bunch of layups around the rim, and it's really annoying. This guy, he does every once in a while, but for the most part, you're hitting almost anything around the rim with a 97 standing dunk and layup. And he's a pretty good post player down there because of his huge height. He's not the best at like hitting big hook shots and whatnot, but the thing is about him, you'll occasionally get some nice drop steps by him. He has a lot of bronze badges. Well, they're only 5, but they're all very helpful. Post, lockdown defender, eraser, chase on artist, offensive and defensive crasher. So basically all the things you need with him, which is basically defense and rebounding, you have it with him. He isn't a great shooter, but he has a really easy release, so that if you're about in the mid-range, as long as you're within 15 feet, you'll hit shots pretty often with him, and his free throw isn't too bad either to use. I bought him, I believe, for about like 3,300. I'll, of course, as always, put the actual stats up on the screen afterwards because I don't remember off the top of my head, but he is a very useful player, and I suggest him a lot for almost any lineup at all. He's almost the exact opposite of Maurice Spates, where Spates is a great offensive player and not that great defensive, and he's an okay rebounder. Well, Gobert is an amazing rebounder and defender, and just a so-so offensive player. So moving on to the final guy is the 2014 Throwback Thursday Goran Dragic. I actually didn't even buy him. I pulled him in a pack when I used to open up Throwback Thursday packs, and I was thinking about selling him because the thing is, they do have the Suns' road to the playoffs, and I was thinking, oh, he might sell for a lot, and I don't need another point guard. However, after using him, this guy is an animal. First off, he's not a great defender, which is one thing that might deter some people, because the thing is, he's not that fast, and he doesn't have great stats. If you look at his defensive stats, his best stat is his pick and roll defensive IQ, I believe, or no, his reaction time, and he doesn't get a lot of steals. And he's not a great defender, he's just a most average defender, where he does everything alright, but nothing too great. So defensively, he's alright, and nothing too bad, but nothing too good. Athletically, he's not very athletic, but he has an 80 acceleration, which might not seem too good, but he's able to get around people every once in a while. And he has really good stamina at an 87. He doesn't get tired at all, at least in my opinion, using him. He has a lot of badges, 15 of them, and if you can look at them, I believe I'll put them on the screen. They're all very useful to him, and the one that actually upgraded with him, I believe, was the Eurostep Master, or whatever it's called. King of Euros, my bad. because the thing is, if you can hit a Euro step with this guy, or you know how to do it, this guy will make the shots at an amazing clip, and he is absolutely awesome to use. He has other shooting stats, but in my personal opinion, he's best at driving to the rim, doing a little hop step, Euro step, or anything to get around the defender, because I've hit so many shots with him, as well as Manu Ginobili, his silver base card, and they are very useful to have, both of them. Now moving on to the rest of his stats, his playmaking is pretty good. I don't use him really as a playmaker, I use him as a scorer, so I might play him at shooting guard. He's 6'3", which is a little undersized just for shooting guard, but that's what I feel like his skills are best suited for, especially with his shooting that I'll get to later. But he's a pretty decent pick and roll player, so yeah, if you want to use him at point guard, shooting guard, either way you're set in terms of playmaking. Now the really good thing about him is his inside and outside scoring. In terms of inside scoring, he hits a lot of layups around the rim. He's a very good finisher for me. One thing I noticed, I don't know if I'm the only one who does this, I always seem to hold down R2 because I like trying to dunk on people, but with this guy you almost never want to do it while driving to the rim. Because he's such a crafty defender, when you don't hold down R2, he'll try to make his way around defenders, either Euro stepping, hop stepping, or just finishing with a nice little move around the rim, and it's very effective for him. He has a 75 drop, which isn't too great, but he's very useful at that, where he does get to the free throw line, and he is a really good free throw shooter, even though his rating isn't that great, mainly because he has a simple release. He isn't a really good post player, but you can occasionally hit a little fadeaway with him in the post, but don't rely to that. And finally, my favorite thing about him is his outside scoring. I believe he has an A three-pointer, and even though his stats aren't that good, his standing and moving are both 85. The thing is about him, his smooth release, as well as these pretty decent ratings, he hits almost every three, it seems like. It's very useful, and he has really good mid-range as well, so you can usually pump fake the three, especially after you hit a couple, and just get open mid-range shots, and it's almost money. He has really good other stats all around, very useful. I love this Goran Dragic card. I'm happy I didn't sell him. I believe he goes for about $2,800 on the market, so that's the thing about him. He's very, very good about it, and he's pretty cheap. I don't remember exactly because I didn't even buy him. I looked him up a couple days ago. I believe he was around like $2,800. This is very good for a player of his skill. You can use him at almost any level, at least for a backup point guard. I don't use him because I have so many point guards on my team. I'm thinking about selling a few of them. But the thing is, if you're in a gold challenge, he's very useful and you should try him out. Anyways, guys, this was this episode of Budget Ballers, and this whole theme was really cheap, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Of course, tell me down below any guys I should review. I know someone commented I should review the Darren Williams Throwback Thursday, and I'll look into that pretty soon. So yeah, tell me about that. Like this video, of course, if you enjoyed it. Subscribe for more 2K and NBA content. I'll talk about the NBA pretty soon after the first round is over, or maybe this video will be up after that video. I don't know just yet. And share with your friends or share anywhere, because it'll be highly appreciated. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Of course, have a good day.